Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the August 10th, 2020 legislative session of the Salisbury City Council. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I would ask you all to hold a moment of silent meditation or prayer. Thank you, everyone. At this time, we have two proclamations, and they'll be presented tonight by Deputy City Administrator Andy Kitrow. Mr. Kitrow.
Thank you, Council President Jack. Before I jump into the proclamations, I just want to make a couple quick comments. For those who may not know, I did work for the county for 11 years, 2006 to 2017. And I worked with both of these gentlemen in different capacities when I was with the Recreation and Parks. So though I have the privilege of reading these proclamations, it is a sombering day in the order in which we have to read these today. We can reflect back on these gentlemen's lives through the words that I'm going to read in this proclamation. So our first one, whereas Robert Lee Culver Jr., Bob or Bobby, however you knew him, was a lifelong resident of Wicomico County, Maryland from October 20th, 1952 until July 26, 2020, when he passed peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by his family following a several-month-long battle with liver cancer. And whereas young Bobby hit the floor running as a second of four children raised on a family farm, where at a young age he acquired a love of early mornings and developed a strong work ethic. And whereas Bob's formal education began in Wicomico County Public Schools, where he went on to graduate from Wicomico High School in 1970, prior to continuing his education at Chowan University in Myerscough, North Carolina, where he earned an Associate of Arts degree in pre-law and business in 1972, before returning to the area to attend Salisbury University, then Salisbury State College, to pursue a major in economics and a minor in business administration. And whereas Bob was the first person under the age of 21 to be licensed as a realtor in the state of Maryland, joining Hannah Real Estate Company during his last year of college, where he specialized in new development and residential sales prior to his career path leading him to found Culver Construction Company, construction and land development business, which oversaw the building of 4 county subdivisions and more than 150 homes. And whereas Bob soon connected with his inner entrepreneur and was at the helm of several area businesses ventures in a variety of industries, including the paddle boats in the city park and the area's first limousine service, 2 mini storage facilities and 2 restaurants, the original Market Street in the early 1990s, and more recently the Cellar Door Tavern. And whereas Bob Culver, known to family and friends as never one to sit still for too long, jumped into politics when he was elected as an at-large member to the Wicomico County Council in 2010, where he served 1 term prior to being elected as the county's second ever county executive in 2014, followed by securing a 2nd term in 2018 prior to receiving his cancer diagnosis. And whereas Bob Culver received his cancer diagnosis in February of 2020, and simultaneously acknowledged that he has never been a quitter. He was not going to stop now. He would continue to work while awaiting his treatment options. He would adjust his schedule accordingly. County business would go on uninterrupted because he had complete confidence in his great staff who would do whatever needed to be done for the county. And whereas Bob was in daily communication with his staff, and during his last few months, he and they finalized the county's operating budget during the coronavirus pandemic and removed the downtown Salisbury plaque honoring Confederate General John Winder amid the Black Lives Matter demonstrations throughout the county and country. And whereas thoughts expressed by state and local officials offering condolences after Bob's passing included his passion for serving, the unique perspective and leadership he brought to his role as county executive, given his experience working on his family's farm, his time spent in real estate sales and land development, and the many hats he wore as an entrepreneur, his understanding of how various projects benefited and improved the quality of life in Wicomico County and beyond, and most importantly, how he fought until the very end, whether it was for all of Wicomico County or against his illness. And whereas a memorial service will be held on Tuesday, August 11th, 2020 at 1 p.m. at the Wicomico Youth and Civic Center, where the family of Bob Culver invites you to join them in the celebration of his life in person, subject to social distancing guidelines, or by the live streaming through PAC 14, which will be available later on demand. And now, therefore, I, Andy Kitzrow, Deputy City Administrator of the City of Salisbury, now do hereby proclaim August 11th, 2020 as Bob Culver Day, and our city in celebration and recognition of a life well lived, and with gratitude for the many lives he touched in a positive, through his service to family, friends, and community. As a lifelong supporter of Wicomico County, he gave back to those most in need. Quote, see yourself always as a cause, and perhaps a better world will find you among your effects. Robert Bro. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Andy. Andy, you have another proclamation?
I do, and this one is for Bruce Wharton. Bruce and I knew each other for 11 years as he ran the Kappa Basketball League out of Billie Jean Jackson Park, and he was a great guy and very instrumental in a lot of things. And this one definitely touches home for me. Whereas Bruce Wharton's life spans 65 years from Sunday, May 8th, 1955 to Monday, July 27, 2020. And whereas it is important to note that Bruce devoted almost half his life to a program on Salisbury's West Side, a youth basketball league known as the Summer Kappa League. And whereas in 1990, Bruce pursued his idea of starting a young basketball league with help from local basketball coaches from the Salvation Army League and fraternity brothers from Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. And whereas the concept of the league was formalized in conjunction with Kappa Alpha Psi's National Guide Right program and became known as the Summer Kappa League, its goal to give young African-American males a positive activity in which to participate. And whereas for the past 29 years, more than 250 young men each summer have participated free in the league, which runs 4 nights a week from the end of June to early August. And whereas the league has over the years assisted those young men by incorporating enrichment and personal development activities into the program, using basketball as a vehicle to deliver the message. And whereas the city of Salisbury celebrates and recognizes what would have been the 30th anniversary of the Summer Kappa League, and how through Bruce's continuous service, the league has positively impacted Salisbury by providing thousands of area youth the opportunity to develop and enhance their basketball and social skills, while actually training in leadership, learning skills that allow them to not only advance to high school, collegiate, and professional teams, but to successfully navigate the game of life. Now, therefore, I, Andy Kitzrow, Deputy City Administrator of the City of Salisbury, do hereby proclaim August 6th, 2020 as Bruce Wharton Day, and our city in celebration and recognition of the life well lived, and with gratitude for the many lives he touched in a positive way through his inspiration that was the Summer Kappa League. 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. And they all said, Amen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Bruce's daughter is on here. If she would, we asked if she would like to say something.
Regina, would you like to say something?
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for the proclamation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And we have a hard copy of that. We usually present it to somebody, and we can get that to you or somebody. We can schedule time.
She already has it.
She already has it. Great. Awesome.
Yes. Yep. Thank you, Miss April.
Thank you.
Thank you, April.
You're welcome.
At this time, I'll call for a motion and a second to adopt the legislative agenda.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson and Mrs. Blake. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda?
Aye.
Ms. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Blake?
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory?
Hi.
And the chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So
So moved. Second.
Ms. Blake, and Mr. Boda. Good evening, Mrs. Nichols. Kim, are you there? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, she was having trouble earlier.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get her on the. Mr. Tillman, if we can't get Kim on the line, can I proceed to the resolutions? You're on mute. Mark, you're on mute.
I can make a motion
for the
to lay the
reminder.
consent. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Go ahead.
I was going to say, should I make a motion to lay the consent agenda on the table until Ms. Nichols is able to get on?
She says she's on and she can hear us. Kim,
Yeah,
can you unmute yourself?
She's muted.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking her if she can unmute. Andy, can you unmute? Oh, she's on the phone, so she can't.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I keep pushing the little icon. It's not necessarily working.
Okay. Well, let's Mayor, why don't you make a motion to lay on the table?
Make a motion to lay the consent agenda on the table until Ms. Nichols can get on.
Is there a second to that motion?
I second it.
second.
Thank you. A motion by Mayor and a second by April
Yes.
to lay the consent agenda on the table. I'll entertain a motion now to approve the resolution. Oh, we have to vote on that. All those in favor of laying the consent agenda on the table, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The consent agenda is on the table. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 3053.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Mr. Boda. Mr. Kitzrow.
Resolution number 3053, a resolution of the city of Salisbury accepting a donation of 2,000 pounds of Deli style turkey meat from Purdue Farms, Inc. to distribute to city of Salisbury employees via the city of Salisbury Employee Food Pantry. Whereas Council of the city of Salisbury supports it. Kim, we got you this time.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. We're going to go through the resolutions and then we're going to come back to the consent agenda.
Okay, I'm afraid to mute myself that I might not be able to come back, so
Yeah,
I'll
just
try to be
leave yourself unmuted. That's fine.
okay.
All right. Go ahead, Ms. Kitzrow.
Whereas the Council of the City of Salisbury supports the acceptance of donations to improve the health and wellness of city employees, and whereas Purdue Farms, Inc. via the Maryland Food Bank of Eastern Shore wishes to donate 2,000 pounds of deli turkey meat to the City of Salisbury to be distributed through the Pantry, a food pantry established for employees of the City of Salisbury, and whereas the city created the pantry to combat food insecurity and make available healthy food options for employees of the City of Salisbury. Now therefore be resolved by the Council of the City of Salisbury, Maryland, does hereby accept the donation of 2,000 pounds of deli-style turkey meat valued at approximately $8,000.
Thank you, Mr. Kittrow. Any questions or comments? Mr. Boda?
Yeah, just thank you to Purdue for the donation.
Ms. Jackson?
No, and I concur with Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Blake?
No questions. Thank you, Purdue.
And Mrs. Gregory?
No questions. Thank you very much.
Hearing no questions, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of resolution number 3053, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda?
Aye.
Ms. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Blake?
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 3054.
So move.
Second.
Ms. Jackson? Ms. Blake? Mr. Kittrow?
Resolution number 3054, a resolution of the City of Salisbury, Maryland, authorizing a temporary construction easement and ongoing maintenance easement, and to grant a deed of easement to First Move Properties LLC. Whereas First Move Properties LLC intends to improve properties it owns located at 130 East Main Street, 132 East Main Street, and 144 East Main Street in the Central Business District. And whereas First Move Properties LLC requires easements across real property owned by the City of Salisbury in order to improve the properties identified as 130 East Main Street, 132 East Main Street, City of Salisbury, to create a walkway from the property to the City of Salisbury parking garage. And whereas the attached deed of easement and the attached temporary construction easement and ongoing maintenance easement detail the aforementioned easement areas and agreement between the City of Salisbury and First Move Properties LLC. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Salisbury, Maryland, that the mayor is authorized to negotiate, sign, and enter into easements with First Move Properties LLC that are substantially similar to the attached temporary construction and ongoing maintenance easements and deed of easement with such other terms and conditions as required by the city solicitor.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda?
No questions.
Ms. Jackson?
No questions.
Ms. Blake?
None.
Mrs. Gregory?
No questions.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of resolution 3054, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda?
Aye.
Ms. Jackson?
Aye.
Ms. Blake?
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory?
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
April was April. April, you did the motion?
I did the second. Angela did the motion.
Angela did it. Okay, and Michelle did the second. Okay. Ms. Nichols, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening. I apologize for throwing the agenda out of order this evening.
No problem. It was a good test.
Yes. So on the consent agenda tonight, we have the July 20th, 2020 work session minutes, July 27th, 2020 legislative session minutes, resolution number 3050 to expand the number of members on the Mayor's Disability Advisory Committee, resolution number 3051 to appoint Dominique Sessa to the Disability Advisory Committee for the term ending August 2023, and resolution number 3052 to appoint Ada Suma-Lapali to the Disability Advisory Committee for the term ending August 2023. And that's it for the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mrs. Nichols.
Thank you.
We'll now call the motion. All those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. I'd like to recognize, I know that Dom Sessa is on and Adith is on as well. I would like to thank both of you for volunteering for these positions. That committee has a special place in my heart, obviously, and I'm glad to see the interest, and it's really nice. So thank you very much, both of you. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2609.
So moved.
Second.
Jackson, Mr. Boda. Good evening, Mr. Tillman. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. This is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury accepting grant funds from the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention in the amount of $1,350 under the FY21 Body Armor Program known as BARM, and amending the FY 2021 grant fund budget to appropriate these grant funds for the purchase of 8 new bulletproof vests level 2 ballistic for the Salisbury police officers. Whereas the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention has awarded the Salisbury Police Department $1,350 for the purpose of purchasing 8 new bulletproof vests, level 2 ballistic, and whereas the Salisbury Police Department desires to purchase these new bulletproof vests in order to provide appropriate safety equipment to its officers, and whereas the required matching funds for this grant in the amount of $1,350 will be provided by the Salisbury Police Department in the protective vest equipment account, and whereas appropriations necessary to execute the purpose of this grant must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and approval of 4/5 of the council of the city of Salisbury. Now therefore be it ordained by the city council of the city of Salisbury that the city accepts the aforementioned grant funds to be spent as outlined in the underlying grant agreement attached here too, and be it further ordained by the city council of the city of Salisbury that the city's fiscal year 2021 grant fund budget is hereby amended as follows: increasing the GOCCP revenue account by $1,350 and increasing the protective vests equipment account by an equivalent amount.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. Questions or comments? Mr. Boda.
No questions.
Ms. Jackson,
No questions.
Mrs. Blake,
No questions.
Mrs. Gregory.
No questions.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2609 for the second reading, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. Motion to approve ordinance numbers 2610.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boda. Who is the second, please?
April.
April.
Hey, Ms. Jackson. Mr. Tillman.
Thank you. This is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury approving a budget amendment of the FY21 general fund budget to appropriate insurance proceeds received in FY21 to aid in the purchase of a new vehicle for the police fleet. Whereas the Salisbury Police Vehicle 1474, a 2014 Chevrolet Caprice, was involved in a motor vehicle accident and was deemed a total loss. And whereas the insurance proceeds received for the value of the vehicle totaled $13,050, and whereas the Salisbury Police Department is requesting that the insurance proceeds of $13,050 for the vehicle be placed in the SPD vehicle purchase account. And whereas the SPD will utilize the funds from the insurance proceeds toward the purchase of an additional vehicle for the Salisbury Police Department within the FY21 budget year. And whereas appropriations necessary for the vehicle purchase must be made upon the recommendation of the mayor and approval of 4/5 of the council of the city of Salisbury, now therefore be it ordained by the city council of the city of Salisbury that the city's fiscal year 2021 general fund budget is hereby amended as follows: increase insurance proceeds by $13,050, increase the police department police services vehicle account by $13,050.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Boda,
No questions.
Ms. Jackson,
No questions.
Ms. Blake,
No questions.
Mrs. Gregory.
No questions.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2610 for the second reading, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2611 for the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Boda, give that to Ms. Blake. Mr. Tillman.
This is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury to amend the Salisbury Municipal Code, Title 13, Public Services, Chapter 1304, to provide for a waiver of comprehensive connection charges. Whereas Chapter 13.02.070 states that the council may allow discounts for the comprehensive connection charges established in this chapter if it is consistent with the city's goals, and whereas the city seeks to encourage development and redevelopment in downtown Salisbury, specifically the general business district and riverfront redevelopment area, and whereas the city seeks to partner with developers to improve public amenities such as the Riverwalk, Urban Greenway, Bicycle Network, and other public spaces, and whereas the EDU incentive area established via Ordinance 2258 is nearing completion, and whereas the Director of the Infrastructure and Development Department has discussed the impending completion of the EDU incentive area with the City Council at work sessions on June 1st, June 15th, and July 6th, and now therefore be it enacted and ordained by the City of Salisbury, the Chapter 1304 of the City of Salisbury Municipal Code be amended as follows. And that will read Section 1304.120 entitled Comprehensive Connection Charge Waiver. A developer may submit written documentation to the Director of Infrastructure and Development to establish eligibility for a project to receive a comprehensive connection charge waiver if the project meets all of the following criteria. 1, the project location is within either the Central Business Zoning District or the Riverfront Redevelopment Zoning District. The project constitutes new development or revitalization of an existing building. The project does not receive, number 3, the project does not receive a capacity fee waiver for public sponsored or affordable housing. Paragraph 4, project complies or will comply with all applicable zoning and building code criteria, stormwater management code, and all requirements of the Salisbury Historic District Commission, if applicable, as confirmed by the Director of Infrastructure and Development. And 5, the project is identified in the Envision Salisbury Master Plan adopted via resolution number 2600 on March 17th, 2016 as amended, or the project meets the objectives identified in the plan. In paragraph 6, the project provides a public benefit by constructing bicycle infrastructure, sections of the Urban Greenway, Riverwalk and or rail trail, public streetscaping elements, or public amenities, or the project exceeds stormwater minimum requirements, or the project utilizes sustainable or green building practices. And then subsection B, if eligible, the developer shall comply with the following requirements and submit the required documentation to the Director of Infrastructure and Development. 1, written requests for comprehensive connection charge waivers will be submitted to the Director of Infrastructure and Development for review to make an eligibility determination. Written requests shall identify the specific eligibility criteria for the project. After review and upon favorable recommendation, the Department of Infrastructure and Development shall submit allocation requests from qualified applicants to the mayor for approval. With the mayor's approval, a resolution will be forwarded to the City Council for its approval. Paragraph B2, the resolution for each property will specify that the comprehensive connection charge waiver is valid for 2 years, with the option to extend the waiver for 2 one-year terms if approved in writing by the Director of Infrastructure and Development prior to the expiration of the term. The Director of Infrastructure and Development may refuse to grant a requested extension if the Director of Infrastructure and Development finds that the property owner is not making good faith efforts to complete the project. And subparagraph 3, the 2-year waiver begins to run from the time of the signing of the resolution awarding the waiver. And 4, the waiver is assigned to a project and to the property on which the project is located and cannot be transferred by the recipient.
Do you have any questions or comments? Mr. Boda,
No questions.
Ms. Jackson,
2 questions.
Ms. Blake,
No questions.
Mrs. Gregory.
No questions.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2611 for the first reading, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 2612 for the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Jackson, Ms. Blake. I believe we have an amendment for this ordinance.
He's got to
Yeah.
read it first.
Would you like me to read it?
Well, okay, if we can do that, we can do it either way. Go ahead, Mr. Tillman.
Okay. Yes, the proposal as written would have the following addition under 1.20.010 under subparagraph A at the end of the sentence where it reads, and other boards of the city, it would read, comma, unless prohibited by state law. And those words would be added at the end of line 26. And then the other addition would be on line 47. We would add a definition for the word board to be defined as any city board or commission, but we have both in the city and we want to make sure without having to repeat those words all through that we pick up both.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to add those changes on line 26 and line 47.
I
We have a
second.
motion by Mr. Boda and a second by Ms. Jackson. All those in favor of the amendment, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Boda, Ms.
Aye.
Jackson, Ms.
Aye.
Blake, Mrs. Gregory.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Tillman, you're going to read the motion, read the total?
I'll go ahead and read it as amended.
Correct. Thank you.
This is an ordinance of the City of Salisbury to amend Title I General Provisions of the Salisbury Municipal Code to add a new chapter to the established procedures for electronic participation. Whereas the ongoing application, administration, and enforcement of Title I General Provisions of the Salisbury Municipal Code demonstrates a need for periodic review, evaluation, and amendments that will keep Title I current. And whereas the recent pandemic has increased the need for electronic participation in the meetings for the City Council and the various boards of the city, and whereas the Mayor and City Council desire to establish procedures for electronic participation in meetings to be held by the city, now therefore be it enacted and ordained by the City of Salisbury that Chapter 1.20 entitled Electronic Participation be added to the City of Salisbury Municipal Code as follows. It will be entitled Chapter 1.20 entitled Electronic Participation, Section 1.20.010 entitled Teleconference or Other Electronic Participation in Meetings. And then subsection A of that section will read, this section governs the telephonic and other electronic participation of the mayor, city staff, the public, and members of the council or other board at all meetings of the city council and other boards of the city unless prohibited by state law. Subparagraph B, the preferred procedure for the city council and other board meetings is that the council and other board members should be physically present at the designated time and location within the city for the meeting. However, physical presence is hereby waived and the mayor, City staff, the public, and any members of the council or a board may participate in a meeting by teleconference or other approved electronic means, subject to the procedures and limitations provided in this section. Subparagraph C reads, a person participating by teleconference shall, while on the teleconference, be deemed to be present at the meeting for all purposes. The person shall make every effort to participate in the entire meeting. Subparagraph D, if the president of the council or board chair participates by teleconference, the president or chair may vote, but a member acting in the president or chair's absence who is physically present at the meeting shall preside over and perform all other functions of the president at the meeting. In the event all council members or board members are participating by teleconference, the president or chair shall preside over the meeting by teleconference. Teleconference is defined as any approved means utilized for remote participation in a meeting which enables the individual for the duration of the meeting to clearly hear all council or board members and other participants, the city clerk or board secretary, and public testimony, and to be clearly heard by all participants and the public in attendance. Board is defined as any city board or commission. And then 1.20.020 teleconference procedures, subparagraph A, any person who does not wish to be physically present for a regularly scheduled meeting shall notify the city clerk or board secretary at least 1 day prior to the scheduled time for the meeting of his or her request to participate in the meeting by teleconference. The city clerk or board secretary shall notify the council or other board of the person's request to participate by teleconference. Subparagraph C. At the commencement of the meeting, an approved telephonic or other electronic connection will be established with a person or persons intending to participate by teleconference. After an electronic connection is established, the president or other board chair shall establish that the connection of each individual is sufficient to meet the requirements of this section. If unable to establish a sufficient connection, the person seeking to participate by teleconference will not be permitted to participate and shall be considered absent from the meeting. All members of the council or other board shall be permitted to make such inquiries and to call for a vote on the question of the quality of any teleconference connection. Only the council members or board members physically present may vote on the quality of a telephonic connection unless all members of the council or board are not physically present. In that case, the city clerk or board secretary, with the advice of the city solicitor, shall determine whether the teleconference connection is sufficiently clear to satisfy the requirements of this section. If a person participates in the meeting by teleconference without a ruling from the council, the board, or the city clerk or board secretary on the clarity of the teleconference connection, the person's participation shall be deemed to be approved and all actions taken by the council or board with the participation of all such persons are valid. If telephonic participation is interrupted due to poor connectivity that hinders the active participation of any individual, any council or board member may request a brief recess to allow the person to attempt to reestablish a connection. If the person cannot reestablish a clear connection after a recess, the president or other board chair shall call for a vote on whether to terminate the unclear teleconference participation. Prior to the vote, the council or other board members may make such inquiries as necessary to make a decision. If a majority of the council or board votes to terminate a person's teleconference participation, the board will indicate such, and the person participating by teleconference shall not be called upon to comment further or to vote. The council's or board's determination is final and not subject to appeal. Subsection D, it says that subsections A and B of this section do not apply to special meetings or emergency meetings of the city council or other board. A member or person who requests to participate in a special or emergency meeting of the city council and other boards must notify the city clerk or board secretary before the time scheduled for the start of the meeting. The clerk or board secretary will notify the council no later than commencement of the meeting. After a connection is established with a person or persons requesting to participate by teleconference, a ruling shall be made on the person's participation in the meeting as provided in subsection C of this section. The means used for a teleconference meeting of the city council or other board must enable each person appearing by teleconference to clearly hear the council or board members, other participants, and all public testimony at the meeting, as well as to be clearly heard by all council or board members and members of the public in attendance. The city clerk or secretary of any board shall note in the journal of the proceedings all members and participants appearing by teleconference. To the extent practicable, materials to be considered by the council or board shall be made available to the council and board members attending by teleconference. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. Comments or questions? Mr. Boda,
No, no questions.
Ms. Jackson,
No comments or questions?
Ms. Blake,
No questions.
Mrs. Gregory.
No comments or questions.
Hearing none, I'll call the motion. All those in favor of ordinance number 2612 for the first reading, please signify by saying aye. Mr. Boda,
Aye.
Ms. Jackson,
Aye.
Ms. Blake,
Aye.
Mrs. Gregory,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye. The vote is 5-0. At this time, we'll entertain any public comments. Mr. Kittro, has anybody identified that they would like to speak?
I had a message sent to me, just for clarification, on resolution 3054, we have a whereas clause that describes the attachment for the temporary construction easement and ongoing maintenance easement. And that starts on page 27 of the packet. On page 34 and 35, the signature page that needs to be notarized, it lists Mayor Jacob R. Day there. The question was, does that need to be changed, or can Julia sign on that line? And does that need to be officially changed here, or what's the process? And that question, I guess, is for Mark or for you, President. I'm not sure of the protocol.
Mr. Tillman?
Let me make sure am I
Page
still
30.
unmuted?
Yep, you're muted. Page 34, 35.
Okay. I can't see myself right now. Yeah, she can sign on those lines for the mayor. The key is that whenever she signs anything, whether it's her name or the mayor's name, it has to be for and with the authority of the mayor. As long as he has authorized his signature to be placed on that document, she is able to do that on his behalf.
Okay, and if the line doesn't say that, how do we, guess, initial that document, or what is the?
Well, at the end where the approval for that resolution does say approved by Julia Glenn, City Administrator, for and with the authority of Jacob R. Day, Mayor.
If I may, Mr. Tillman, the reason for the question has to do with how would you like to address the notary that has to be executed for recording?
Oh,
And the actual easement. Yep.
on the easement itself that's attached to the resolution.
Yes, sir.
We'll go ahead and if you remember, this resolution authorizes any changes necessary.
Yes.
By the mayor or by me. So that's an easy fix after the fact.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman. Thank you, Mr. Sullivan.
Well,
Thank
have
you.
a nice evening.
Anybody else?
Council President, I do not have any additional comments in the chat.
All right, we'll have remarks for the good of the order. Mr. Boda?
No, just our condolences to Bruce Wharton's family and the family of Mr. Culver. And just encourage everybody to support our local businesses, continue supporting our restaurants as they work to get back on their feet.
Thank you. Ms. Jackson?
No, I don't have any comments tonight. I'll be traveling Wednesday, so I'll see you next Monday.
Safe trip. Ms. Blake?
Just be sure to wear your mask. Make sure it's covering your nose and your mouth. Over the weekend, I saw some people wearing it like this. I was a little concerned. And of course, as always, if you're healthy, please give blood. Donate blood.
Thank you, Ms. Blake. Mrs. Gregory?
Just want to reiterate what she said about wearing the mask. Make sure you're wearing them properly, and check on your neighbors. Take care of your family.
I ditto all those comments, and I thank everyone for your participation tonight. Please be safe, and we'll see you in a week.
Jack,
Thank you,
can
everybody.
I
Yes.
say one thing real quick?
Sure.
Sorry, I should have brought it. Just a real quick shout out. We did have the tropical storm last week, and we've not met since that happened. Just always want to give a shout out to the outstanding work of our law enforcement and our public safety, fire, EMS, and our field operations team, who are just top notch when it comes to responding to those crisis situations and keeping people safe and cleaning up afterwards. So we always do a great job, and I always want to give them kudos when I can.
Here, here. Good comment, Andy. Thank you. And I'll tell you, we were very lucky. I drove through Delaware the other night, and they got hammered, really hammered badly. So let's thank God for small favors and proceed. So thank you for that. With that, we are adjourned, everyone. Have a great week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.